We're going to transition next to Erica Menchaca. She's a professor of education. And Erica is going to share with us a little bit about competency-based education. It's all you, Erica.
Thank you. Hello. All right. So competency-based education. It Listening to everybody else on the panels, I was like, wow, this just like everything ties together so beautifully. So it's really nice. Next slide, please. So 3 questions that I'm hoping to answer in like I think 4.5 minutes now. How will CBE help student learning? Right, that's the strategic direction number 1. And then what is this direct assessment CBE? And then what are the next steps to keep getting involved? Next slide, please. All right, so here's just some kind of list of how competency-based education helps student learning. And Brent already mentioned about the SLOs, and then Nick said it also about assessment and making that really transparent for student learning so that the student can understand what they're expected to learn. Authentic assessment, right, of those outcomes and objectives, and then that's what's tied to the competency that's being measured. And the student is really at the center, and so it's self-paced. It's really meant to be interactive and engaging and empowering for the student, and so they can take their time and as flexible as they need to. And this ties in great to Alex is about the badging. And so it also provides economic mobility. And one of the best ways to do that we've seen is some type of micro credentialing, badging at BC is what we're calling it. And so this allows industry partners or other people outside of academia to connect the skills that they learn in the class or the skills that are tied to competencies with what's meaningful in right the working world, because they're going to look at what kind of skills can you put on a resume, how do I know you know it, and that leads to the consistent learning requirements. And so competency-based education means we have set learning requirements, and the students can try as much as they want to, they can get as much support as they need to, take as much time as they need to till they get to that set requirement. And now our industry partners or other external partners know that they met that mastery level. And this is really increasing equity by removing barriers. And I mentioned time already, but maybe even time to start our classes, right? We start on a specific date for the semester. This starts to remove barriers like that. We start at specific times. In CBE, they don't necessarily need to do that. They can, right, that can all be rearranged. So it's can really remove some barriers for students. Next slide, please. So comparing what it is, what like the traditional Carnegie unit, so student is self-paced, and then what we're normally seeing is teacher-paced. So the teacher says, this is what we're going to do today, this is what we're going to do 2 days. CBE is fixed learning outcomes, so set thresholds to meet the mastery, whereas the traditional idea is to give letter grades of varying competencies, right? And then focused on summative assessment instead of varied assignments. And with that focus, you have really clear rubrics and requirements that the student understands. And it's supported by faculty and staff and other support services. It's not meant to be some kind of independent, just give the student reading and they can go figure it out, or independent study or anything like that. It's also a way to intentionally scaffold mastery. And so I see some really good questions in the chat, and I will get to them. And it's not necessarily based on grades or units, so it kind of takes that out of the way. And next slide, please. So some of the examples, there's a hybrid approach to CBE. And so with Bridge, right, Bridge has such success rates, and it's Dr. Bly does an amazing job with that. We had to move it to online, and so a lot of people participated with that. And as we did that, we wanted to measure certain levels, right? Make sure they knew certain things. And so with the new online learning for students course that Dr. Bridge does, this is Dr. Bly, sorry, she does Summer Bridge. This is that kind of hybrid approach. And so this is the timing. It's still week 1, week 2, but it's tied to a competency. And you can see this is like the badger, the badging connected to our SLOs that are connected all in Canvas. So it's stuff we're already doing. It's technology we're already using. It's just connecting them into CBE for student benefit. Next slide, please. So this other example that is going to be that education course that was mentioned, the B30 for online teaching. this can be more self-paced. And so the student can also kind of go at their own pace through the modules, kind of keep trying out a module until they get the mastery, and then they get the badge, and then they can go to the next step. And so this kind of, right, approach to learning and teaching can already be done in most of our courses and most of our technologies. Next slide. So hopefully, I got really excited when I first heard about CBE because I was like, oh my goodness, this is what our students need. This is going to meet so many students' needs already. And I'm like, I was just excited. And hearing our panelists, I was like, everything's connecting together. This is great. So hopefully you want to know the next steps. And the next steps are to answer some of those questions with this Chancellor's Office collaborative. And so they are forming a collaborative on direct assessment CBE. And with that, they're going to provide seed money for launching programs, program development support. It's going to be a professional learning community of different colleges attempting to explore this new area. And by the way, other states have already done it. And so it's not like creating a whole new thing. It's seeing what other states have succeeded in and how does it fit in California and BC. And it also gives us the opportunity to inform, right, broader system implementation, meaning BC gets a voice in how direct assessment CBE is going to look statewide and other community colleges. And so, yes, there are questions of does it take, how are we going to keep students with that discussion that Nick mentioned that is super important? There are ways. So if you take the education B31, 32, 30, even 30, we'll talk about that. But that will provide professional developments, I'm sure. And there's other questions that hopefully this collaborative group will start to answer. And then that's why I think it's a good opportunity for BC to try and learn these answers or even provide solutions if we have them, like Badger. So, and the last slide was a references one, but I'm sure that will be provided to you guys. So thank you.
Thank you, Erica.